Hey everyone, ArdrethShadow here and welcome back to Doki Blue Skies. So previously, it seemed as though we were kind of preparing for Christmas. MC and Sayori were kind of sort of growing closer. And once MC finally got the nerve to confess his love to Sayori, well, Sayori's dark secret finally came out. And yeah. And I guess from that episode you can also kind of see why, when it comes to matters of depression, yeah, it is a very sensitive topic for me, considering it is something that I've gone through a lot in my own life. But anyways, so now here we are. Man, am I glad that it's Saturday today. There'd be no chance in hell that I'd be able to concentrate if today were a school day. Given the information the experience he had yesterday, yes. Her revelation keeps replaying over and over in my mind. Depression. A nasty sounding word. And in some ways, quite foreign. I guess I was kind of sheltered. Prior to Sayori, I never knew any people with the condition. It was something I was of course aware of, but I had never paid any real thought to it. I mean, I knew what it was. Psychology has always been at least vaguely interesting to me, but I never really saw a real reason to look into it. And Sayori said that she's been depressed for most of her life. So I can't help but wonder, when did it all develop? Obviously this is going to be the Blue Skies universe incarnation of Sayori. So as for the main universe Sayori, that will kind of be a mystery to me as well. What caused it? Was she bullied? Or did a close friend or family member die? There's so many things I want to ask her right now. Although, I think for right now she kind of needs her space. Especially given the emotional distress she went through. No, based on how last night ended, she definitely needs some time to cool off. Glad to see you're finally seeing it my way. I'll give it a couple of days. Besides, I've got a lot of homework to be getting on with. Well, that Sakura is out of the way first. Man, the end of the war had really huge effects on the world. Just wait until World War II. It's time for a break, I reckon. He says I reckon a lot. What to play. It really is a first world problem to have so many games available but still not know what to play. When you put it that way, yeah. Anyways, a colorful looking title catches my eye. Man, not even escapism from video games is doing the trick. Yeah. Although, unironically, one game that actually helped me through the depression that was kind of dragged on by the death of my grandmother was actually Paper Mario: The Thousand-Year Door, which my grandfather indirectly bought me. Which is why that game has a special place in my heart, which is why the Paper Mario series has a special place in my heart, and which is why Sticker Star and Onward just broke my heart so much that I was like, what even is this anymore? Perhaps I should go for a walk instead. Being cooped up indoors probably isn't doing any favors for my health. Yeah, and unironically, in the time period I'm recording this right now, it really doesn't do much for your health. So, yeah. But of course, I'm not going to go much into it. But just know that I'm talking about a specific thing going on during 2020 that's been going on for a while. Mom used to harp on about the importance of fresh air. I stand up and stretch, wearily rubbing my neck. Yeah, some fresh air wouldn't go amiss. Okay, we're in the park and it's nighttime. At this point in the day, the park is rather quiet. Not as many people come to this part of the park anyway. Now, apparently just you, Natsuki, and Yuri, and sometimes Sayori. Not all on the same timeline, mind you. Which is a shame, because this part is arguably the prettiest thanks to the lake. Being in the middle of November, there's a definite chill in the air, although I'm wrapped up warm, so I can barely feel it. There's a comfortable lull in the air, especially after the overwhelming nature of last night. The silence is a perfect antidote, being therapeutic and calm. Sure, I have the house to myself, but there's no substitute for fresh, cool air. Maybe my parents were right when they kept up that healthy body, healthy mind mantra. As calm as the atmosphere is, it's not doing much for the whirlwind that is my mind. Looking back, how could I have been so stupid? How did I miss all the signs? Am I really that dense? Well, I'm not gonna say anything because I'm not gonna kick you while you're feeling down. As I know this is definitely very hard on you. But, well, I've said it before in the other 30-some videos I made, so... Thinking about it, the fairy tale poem makes so much sense now. Exactly. That poem was literally a cry for help. Essentially spelling out, help, I'm unhappy. I want to see everyone else around me happy, at the expense of my own happiness. The selflessness, the devotion to keeping others happy, regardless of her own mental state. The signs were all there. Struggling to wake up on time, which explains why she was always late. And the nightmare. And when she finally told me her most painful secret, how did I respond? You raised your voice and kind of sounded like a total jerk. By shouting at her and making her cry. Yeah. Great friend you are, Daniel. No wonder she didn't even want to tell me in the first place. I was so pushy, so demanding, yet when she told me, instead of being empathetic and understanding, you were the complete opposite of all that. Case in point. I rest my case. I did the exact opposite. It wouldn't even surprise me if she didn't want to be friends anymore. Would she ever forgive me? Well, Sayori's a very loving and kind-hearted person. And, well, outside of that, I mean, considering the nature of this game, you kind of have to know that eventually they're going to have to talk again. And eventually something is going to have to come out of it. Although whether she should or not is a whole other question. Even if she did forgive me, what could I do about her depression? Her self-perception seems so cemented. Yeah, I wouldn't even know where to begin with that personally. It took me quite a few years to kind of break out of my own perception of myself. And even then, I'm still kind of working on it all these years later. But only because I did finally start trying to seek help. Although I will say that my mother personally didn't really see too much of a point to therapy, and neither did my aunt, but that's another story. And I'm pretty sure maybe therapy will come up later, so I'll talk about it then. Would I be making things worse by getting involved? Or would I be able to help her? I don't know. Being a normal teenage guy doesn't really afford me much sensibility. Yep, because you're young and naive and impressionable. Even though I might sound a bit melodramatic, I can't help but feel like I barely even know Sayori anymore. How much of her happiness is just a mask? It can't be all of it. Daniel? Uh-oh. Oh, okay, it's Yuri.
Daniel?
Being so lost in my thoughts, I didn't even notice Yuri's presence. See, I told you Yuri comes here sometimes. Oh hey Yuri. Didn't see you there. Are you a ninja?
I'm not bothering you, am I? You look rather deep in thought.
Oh, you're fine. Would be nice to have some company, actually. She smiles shyly and takes a seat next to me. The accompanying silence is not awkward in the slightest, which surprises me. Then again, Yuri is no stranger to deep thoughts herself, and she's definitely used to being reflective and quiet.
I didn't expect to see you here.
Didn't expect me to come along to, dang it. Didn't expect me to come to a quiet park when it's getting dark, especially in the middle of the winter, huh?
Not really, no. The dark and the cold combined tend to put most people off.
Yeah, especially the cold.
If you don't mind me asking, what brings you here?
Well, so it's like this. There's a lot on my mind, and I figured some fresh air would do me some good, you know? Yeah, on second thought, you really don't want to go and tell the world about what's going on with Sayori. You know, considering it would be kind of violating her privacy, breaking her trust. And plus there's a bad ending in the Purist mod where he does exactly that, and yeah, so.
Ah, I see. Perhaps we're more alike than I first imagined.
Yeah, and I'm not just saying that because there were at least 2 other timelines where we got along just fine enough to date.
Whenever I'm troubled by something, I always find quiet periods of reflection in the evening can be really helpful. Something about the stillness of the night. It's much easier to think when you're in environments such as this one.
Yeah, it is. Especially when you're feeling overwhelmed. It helps just to take a step back and breathe. I've actually known this park for as long as I can remember. My parents used to take Sayori in here all the time. Countless memories throughout the years.
That sounds wonderful, Daniel. To be able to share such happy times with someone as you both grew up. Although I'm curious, given how much time you two seem to spend with one another, I would have thought Sayori would be with you now.
And therein lies the problem. I looked down momentarily, poking at a twig with my shoe. Well, we kinda had a fight.
Oh. That comes as quite a surprise, given how close you two seem to be. Then again, I suppose it's inevitable that fights occur between people, no matter their dynamics.
Yuri starts fiddling with her hair.
Not that I mean to pry, but may I ask why you had a fight in the first place?
I grimace as I reply. As much as I enjoy talking to Yuri and appreciate her company here, there's no way I can reveal Sayori's secret to her. It's not that I don't want to tell you, and it's nothing personal. I
understand completely, Daniel. I suppose it was a rather personal question.
She just told me something really private, and that horrible, familiar feeling of shame bubbles up whenever I recount how I reacted to her confession. Yeah. Basically, exactly the very last thing you would want to do to a person who's dealing with depression, and essentially make them feel even worse about it. I didn't take it very well, and I said some really stupid stuff, and mean. I got angry at her, and I shouted at her. I'm an awful friend. I leaned forwards, burying my face in my hands. There's an awkward, heavy silence for a few moments.
Daniel? I know that I haven't known you for as long as Sayori has. But please believe me when I say you're not an awful friend. I don't know what was said between you two, but everyone says things they don't mean during arguments, especially when tensions are running high.
Yeah. Not going into too many details, but I remember my mom got mad at me when I was 14 about something, and she said something that deeply hurt me. And then I brought it up to her a few years later, and she told me that, well, she said it in the heat of the moment. And likewise, when she was getting near the end of her life, she was starting to get more irritable, and I did everything I could to help her, and in some cases, apparently, my help for her wasn't good enough, and it made me very sad and frustrated because I was literally doing everything I could for her, and I was trying my best, and it frustrated me because on the one hand, she didn't seem happy or satisfied, and on the other hand, I was frustrated at myself because I felt like I wasn't doing enough. So, but as a friend told me, it was mostly probably just because she was in her own state of depression and pain, that she probably wasn't in her right state of mind part of the time when she said some of those things as well. So, even between two people who love each other like my mom and I guess exactly, something like that can happen. So, exactly like case in point, when my mom got angry at me to the point she told me something so hurtful that it felt like it deeply wounded me for so many years.
That's something my parents once told me, and it really is true.
It is. I agree with all of you there.
If you take my argument with Natsuki back in September, in the heat of the moment, I said some rather hurtful things. However, I didn't actually mean them, and I'm fairly confident that Natsuki feels the same way too. Please don't be too hard on yourself. I can tell that Sayori means a lot to you, and you're ever so patient and kind with her. If I may be so bold to say, perhaps you don't realize it, but you do a lot for her.
And that's what my aunt used to say to me about my mom. That I stuck by with her till the very end. And she told me that despite being her son and whatever, like, there aren't too many children who will, quote-unquote, stay with their parents when they're being so rash and unreasonable. But I just did not want to leave her because I loved her so much. So I just had to stay with her to the very end. Because, exactly, I loved her so much and she meant the world to me.
Little things, such as walking to school with her in the mornings, and walking her home in the afternoons.
Because you're still spending time with her, and you're still giving her that sense of comfort.
But most importantly, whenever she's feeling sad, you really take it upon yourself to find out what's wrong so you can comfort her. We can all see that your care and consideration for her shines like a beacon.
Perhaps maybe a beacon of hope. Yeah, that's all well and good and all, but I still hurt her really badly.
Friends always hurt each other, Daniel. It's just an unfortunate reality of being human.
And as such, humans are flawed. We're imperfect. we say or do the wrong things at times, and in most cases it's not like we mean to hurt the other person, but the end result, it's just something that's out of our control sometimes, or something that we don't perceive or intend. Like, I'm pretty sure my mom did not think at that moment that what she was going to say to me would have such an effect on me for so many years. But, of course, my mom had her flaws as well. Like, she could be very stubborn, very impatient. But at least if you were to sit down and talk to her a little bit, she can be a very understanding person. Well, she could be a very understanding person. So, that's exactly what I mean. So as humans, unfortunately, we are going to make errors every now and again. But I guess you could say what we do with that, how we move forward, how we choose to move forward, and the actions we take, is what makes the difference here. We can either learn from that error, or we can just carry through and either just ignore it and end up repeating history all over again, or keep beating ourselves up because we made that error. And unfortunately, with people with depression, they tend to beat up on themselves a lot if they make errors so much. Kind of like how I did with myself. And I suppose how Sayori probably does with herself as well.
From what I can gather, she isn't someone who could hold a grudge.
And that's what I'm saying. Despite the hurt she probably feels right now, I don't think she could ever hate him. Especially given their history together. She knows that he loves her. Well, aside from the love confession, he cares deeply about her, and that he would do anything just to see her smile. So, when you consider that, at least from a certain point of view, wouldn't it be sort of endearing and comforting to know that there is someone out there who values you that much?
So whatever issue there is between you guys, I'm confident you'll be able to sort it out.
It'll just take some time and effort. Most probably on his part, but at the same time, well, I guess I shouldn't really say that. It's going to take both of them to work it out properly. Both equal opportunities and efforts from them both.
Sorry, I didn't mean to sound so presumptuous or anything.
You've not been presumptuous in the slightest, Yuri. Your insight has been really refreshing. I still feel bad, but you've made me realize that perhaps things aren't as bleak as they seem. Exactly. There just needs to be some more time and cooperation between the both of you, and effort. So thank you. Seriously, it means a lot. You're a really good friend.
Thank you, Daniel. I'm glad I was able to help.
I can't help but grin. Yuri's shyness has always been endearing, especially as it clashes against her intelligent, mature outlook oh so much. I'm thinking ever so much, or whatever, like Lila from Hey Arnold. If you want to know what I mean, I guess just go back a few videos. Anyway, I could ask you the same question. What brings you here? It's okay. You don't have to disclose anything. I won't pry. But just know that if you ever need someone to talk to, I'm here. And so are the other girls, okay? I remember how horrible those people during the festival recital were to you, and I'd hate to think that you were suffering in silence or anything like that. Oh, no. Well, I can tell you she is kind of suffering in silence, but it's going to be up to her to decide what to do, and how comfortable she feels.
Ah, Daniel, you truly are too kind. I very much appreciate your words, and I'm very glad that Sayori told you about our club.
I know I said it back in September, but honestly, I'll say it again. I'm just grateful that you guys accepted me with open arms. You didn't judge me because I wasn't a poet, nor did you ever laugh at how bad my poems were. Or how bland they were. I know they weren't particularly to your taste, but you still gave me good advice and feedback.
Well, I believe that everyone should be included. No one deserves to be an outcast, irrespective of their hobbies, interests, or their writing ability.
Yeah, you and me both, Yuri. No one truly deserves to be an outcast. Well, anyways, I already went on and on about that in Yuri's route, so I'll try not to go on about it again here.
I just wish others would be as accepting and inclusive of those with interests that go against the norm.
Yeah. Okay, well fine, I guess I'll just touch on it a bit here, but yeah, this was pretty much me throughout my entire school life. When I was just a young, naive little boy who wanted to be friends with the people. But I was regarded as being kind of strange and weird and odd. And I would get bullied a lot. And I eventually regressed into this shy, quiet little boy who would be at the back of the classroom, hardly ever saying anything, hardly interacting with anyone out of fear of judgment or harassment. Always just trying to get good grades and just, get along through. And whenever I'd ask my grandmother, why are people so mean to me? I never did anything to them. I just wanted to be friends. I just wanted to be peaceful, leave other people alone, yada yada. And of course, my grandmother would just tell me that they're just being idiots. Her exact words. That they're idiots. And they just don't know any better. They don't know how to handle being angry, jealous, whatever they're feeling. So they just take it out on whoever they feel is a target or whatever. And unfortunately, I just happen to be one of those targets. And in this case, Yuri is kind of subject to being outcasted and forced into isolation by her peers for being regarded as being kind of strange, for her interests that go against the norm. She's nervously picking at her sleeves, almost pulling them up over her hands. Yep, see, there's that foreshadowing right there. Well, for what it's worth, I think your interest in horror and taste in literature and poetry is pretty cool, Yuri. It makes for a nice change of discussion, and gives you interesting stuff to talk about. Exactly like how I was having a side conversation about Mary Shelley's Frankenstein. You see? Like when you discussed Frankenstein's monster with me at lunchtime. And then how I was pretty much just springboarding off what they were discussing. I never really gave it much thought, but after you had that talk with me, it helped me realize that we shouldn't just take stuff at face value. Oh, and your poems are awesome. You gotta include that. Just look at her. I just hope one day I'll be able to write to your level.
That That really means a lot. I'm glad you have such an open mind, Daniel. In this day and age, to find a mind so free of prejudice and misconception. It's truly a breath of fresh air. Thank you. Anyway, I don't mean to cut short our discussion, but unfortunately, I have a lot of homework to be getting on with.
Ah, yeah, me too. Procrastination can only get you so far, eh? Catch you later, Yuri. Hope everything gets better.
And you, Daniel.
With a wave, we both depart. And yeah, so nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever after that. Beep, beep, beep. Okay. Another day at school. At least it's mid-November now, so Christmas break isn't too far off. After finishing my morning route, I head outside, tentatively waiting for Sayori. Yuri's words were helpful, but I was naive to think things would just go back to normal. What did I say? You need time. There's no sign of Sayori, and I feel like texting her is off the table. With a sigh, I make the journey to school alone. Learning about the inter-war years should, by all means, be interesting. But obviously, you're too busy thinking about what's happening with Sayori. Even with Sakurai's enthusiasm and humor injected into the lessons, I still can't find myself enthusiastic about the subjects he's discussing. Despite my best efforts to remain occupied over the weekend, the worry I had for Sayori was always there, lurking at the back of my mind. I hate this silence. Not being able to talk to someone you really want to talk to is crushing. It's agonizing. Oh, great. Ah, Daniel. I don't suppose you'd be able to answer that question. I don't even know what the question is. Huh? Please do tell me that I'm such a boring teacher that you can't even pay attention. Oops. Yes, please tell him how boring he is. Please don't tell me I'm such a boring teacher that you can't even pay attention. If word got out that I was sending my students into a stupor, I'd get fired on the spot. Although I'd probably do well in the hypnosis business. You are getting very sleepy. There's a slight smattering of laughter. He's still looking at me expectantly, so I force a grin on my face. But I don't know what the question is. Sorry, sir, I didn't understand the question. Could you repeat it? He does so and I answer. But he's very straight, stone-faced. He nods approvingly, although there's traces of concern on his features. The rest of the lesson drags on at what feels like a snail's pace. We're supposed to be taking notes from our textbook and answering the question, but my mind has been on autopilot ever since I woke up this morning. By all accounts, the progress I've made has been pretty mediocre. Everything okay, Daniel? He's keeping his voice low and quiet, crouching next to me. You don't seem yourself today. Pardon me if that's an incorrect assessment. He motions toward my notes. Oh, great. You're normally ahead of the game when it comes to classwork. Not that I mind too much. Everyone's allowed to slack now and again, right? He chuckles, but I barely even respond. Yeah, I'm good, sir. Sorry, just had a long weekend. A long, agonizing weekend. Might as well attempt to stab at humor. And by long weekend, no, I don't mean staying up late and playing videos. I don't mean staying up late playing video games. That's a shame. Those kinds of weekends are the best ones. That I will agree with.
Anyway, do your best for now. You've got a good grasp on the topics, so don't worry about it too much for now. Just make sure you know the material for the December exams.
Got it, sir.
Thank you.
Ew. I was expecting some kind of stern telling off about my lack of progress. I find your lack of progress disturbing.
Bell's about to ring, everyone.
There it is!
We'll call it there.
Okay. As I'm making my way outside, I spot a familiar white bow. Okay, now we're gonna have a little bit of Monica in my life.
Hey, Daniel. About to head to lunch, huh?
Yeah. I'm really sorry, but I won't be coming to the club today. Because Sayori hates me! Oh, what happened to my voice there? Because Sayori hates me! Well, okay, well, after I just finished saying she doesn't hate you, but... Okay, well, anyways. She raises an eyebrow.
Oh? Why's that?
Being totally honest with you, I'm really just not in the mood for it. There's some stuff I need to sort out, and if I came, I don't think I'd be very good company anyway. Especially for Sayori, perhaps. She nods, but it's hard to read the expression on her face.
Okay, that's understandable. By the way, you haven't seen Sayori around, have you?
She didn't come to school today. Did she really not? Oh wait. They have the same class, duh. I just remembered that.
Do you know why?
Funny she should ask that. No clue. Sorry.
Strange. Well, I hope you sort out whatever it is that's bugging you soon.
Thanks, and sorry once again for bailing.
It's okay. It'll be a quiet session today, I guess. What, with the three of us? It'll be interesting to see what it's like. Anyway, I've gotta go. See you around, Daniel.
See ya. Why do I get the nagging feeling that she's judging me for something? Because she is! Because she hates me! Well, like I said, I'm just kind of going off with what I understood from the story notes. Oh well. It's okay, I'm fine with Monica hating me. I'm not trying to make her fall in love with me anyway. Much like the walk to school, the return journey feels equally as empty. Yeah, especially with this music, this atmosphere. It just feels downright sad and soul-crushing. With another pang of guilt, I remember all the little jibes I used to fire away about her being lazy and unable to get out of bed. Yeah. You're kind of regretting that now, aren't you? Why is it that our brains are so good at reminding us of times we said or did things we really regret? A tiny voice of reason within me tells me that I had no way of knowing why she was struggling to get up on time. I mean, it's not like I set out to hurt her with my jokes. But unfortunately, deep down it did hurt her. That kind of playful banter just characterizes our friendship. I just wish I could believe that tiny voice of reason a little more. As I make my way to my house, I notice a figure sitting by my doorway. I roll my eyes and suppress the urge to groan. I'm not really in any mood to deal with some religious nutter trying to get me to believe in God. Pardon me, may I tell you today about our Lord and Savior, Ruriko Satan? Wait, hang on. Well, oops. I thought it said a familiar figure, and then I'm like, hey, wait a minute. Why are you talking about like you don't know? And I'm like, oh, my mistake. Who knows, maybe Maybe I am psychic. As I was about to... If he hadn't said all that stuff, I would have thought, well, maybe it's Sayori. Because it can't be Natsuki. We haven't spoken much with her lately. That's... Sayori? Sayori? Her head shoots up at the sound of my voice. What are you doing here? The sight in front of me is utterly unexpected. Neither of us know what to say. The aftermath of our previous encounter still lingers in the air.
Can I come in?
Yeah, sure.
Thanks.
After dumping my school stuff down, I turn to face her. The awkwardness doesn't dissipate. There's so much I want to say, but I don't even know where to start.
I'm really sorry, Daniel.
Tears immediately fill Sayori's eyes, and the powerful desire to embrace her hits me once more.
I really shouldn't have kicked you out like that. I've been so horrible to you, keeping you in the dark. I was just so scared, and the whole thing is just so confusing.
It is confusing. Depression is confusing even to me, even now. No, Sayori, it's me who should be apologizing. I'm so sorry for being so pushy, for shouting at you, and for being such a lousy friend. I've been regretting how I acted on Friday ever since. Please don't hate me. Sayori tumbles into my arms, sobbing without restraint.
I could never hate you, silly. You're my best friend. I was so scared that after our fight that I pushed you away.
I can feel my heart break as she sobs and clings to me. Instinctively, I wrap my arms around her and hold her close. Sayori, you're so silly sometimes. You know that. You could never push me away. I'm your best friend. Although, recently, I've been wondering if I deserve to be.
Huh? Why?
I shouted at you. I made you cry. A few of my own tears have started to leak. With concern etched all over her face, she leans forward and carefully brushes a tear away. See, Sayori's such a sweetheart, even now. It's the last thing I wanted to do, and I hate myself for it.
Daniel, it's okay. Looking back, I really can't blame you. It must have been so frustrating from your perspective. I just want things to go back to normal. Please, can't we just put this all behind us?
It's like a huge weight has been lifted off my shoulders just by hearing those words. Of course we can. Although, what about his love confession? Are we going to be putting that behind us too? And here was me thinking you didn't want to be friends anymore.
I could never stay mad at you, Daniel. You mean too much to me.
Can we agree that we're clowns? And we're as bad as each other? Sayori gives me a watery smile. She clings to me a little harder.
That sounds fair.
Oh, to hear that laugh again. I'll always be here for you, okay? Even though I can be a dense idiot at a bunch of times, or at the best of times. That will never change. You mean being an idiot, or him being there for you always? She looks up, her eyes swimming with tears. Even with her tear marks all down her face and tousled hair, she still looks absolutely beautiful.
You really mean that?
I gently thumb away one of her tears. Of course I do. She barrels once more into my chest. It feels incredibly intimate to be able to hold her in this state of vulnerability. So that's why you waited outside my house?
Yeah. I really wanted to see you, but I couldn't face school today, and I wasn't sure if you even wanted to see me.
Her voice is slightly muffled as she talks into my shirt. It's kind of funny when you think about it. We both thought the other person didn't want to see us, when we both really wanted to see each other. Oh, Sayori. What are we like? She giggles into my chest. At a close distance, I can actually feel the vibration from her laughter. Yuri told me that she didn't think you were the kind of person to stay angry for long. Okay, I hope this isn't gonna cause any sort of trouble later. She looks up.
Yuri?
Yeah, I bumped into her over the weekend. Oh, right, her secret. While I was at the park, needed some fresh air at night. Don't worry, I didn't reveal much. I just told her we had a fight. She was really empathetic and understanding.
That sounds like her. She's such a dependable friend. Anyway, I guess she's right. I hate conflict, and I don't like staying angry at people.
Well, that's super convenient for an idiot like me, isn't it?
I was going to try and find you earlier, but I thought I should give it a little bit of time first.
Oh, well, at least we're here now. I'm so glad you came to find me.
And I'm super glad we made up. Oops, I got your shirt super wet.
Oh well, I'll just go get a new one. Or toss this in the dryer.
Sorry about that.
Oh good. Not the first time you've spilled something on me now, is it?
Oh, you mean that one time with...
Hold up, Sayori. One time?
Okay, you've made your point, meanie.
Yeah, well, okay, this is how they banned her, so okay. We both share a laugh, and God, does that laugh feel good to hear. Just like that, all of the tension and stress I've been carrying over the past few days has lessened. It's like I can finally breathe again. Anyway, look, Sayori, I had some time to think about what you told me on Friday. I'll be honest with you, I don't understand your depression at all, and I can't imagine what you're going through. But what I do know is I'll do my best to be there for you, even if it's just as a friend. I know you said you like me too, but you weren't sure about your feelings. So we can go at whatever pace you want to go at, even if you want to go at all.
It's really frustrating because I do like you, Daniel. I really do. I just...
She bites her lip anxiously.
I'd hate to drag you down, to get you involved with my mess.
I know you see it like that, Sayori, but I see it completely differently. No one is forcing me to make my decision. I'm choosing to get involved because I want to, because I like you, and I don't see you as a burden at all. Think of all the times where you've helped me feel better, or the other girls in the club. You're so good at keeping everyone's spirits high, breaking up fights, restoring the peace. Would it really be so wrong for me to give something back to you? I know you don't see it, but to me, you're worth an awful lot, and I care about you so much.
But Daniel, there are so many other things, other people out there who are more worthy of your time.
None of those other people are you, though. No one else on this planet could ever replace you. I grew up with you, Sayori, and you're my best friend for a reason. All of those happy memories we've shared, the jokes, the stories, the adventures. I share them with you, and only you. You're such a big reason as to why my childhood was so happy.
Really?
Of course. We used to see each other like every day. Our parents used to say we were inseparable. And here we are. Now, even after years apart, we get along like nothing ever happened. So believe me when I say that you're very special to me, and you've got a heart of gold, whether you can see it or not.
Oh, Daniel.
She starts to sniffle again.
No one has ever said something like that to me before.
Well, I'm glad to be the first. Then it pleases me to be the first.
I'm still unsure, and it's still really confusing, but your hugs are really comforting. They make me feel like everything might be okay, if just for a few moments. I know what you want me to say, but I don't know. I still feel like I'm being selfish. And I thought you liking me back would make the rain clouds in my head go away. It's like there's a little ray of sunshine now, but it's still raining.
The websites that I visited told me that depression doesn't have a quick fix. No, it doesn't. It's a long process, and it's easy to feel like you can't make much of a difference, especially if you aren't a mental health professional. My lack of experience with depression is really starting to rear its ugly head. That's okay, Sayori. I guess it was naive for me to think I could just come in and fix everything.
That would be nice, though. I guess we could just start by taking everything really slowly. Like, could we not jump into going on official dates or telling everyone we're together just yet?
Of course. Whatever pace you want to go with, like I said.
I'm not making the wrong choice, though, am I? Just please tell me if I'm being a burden, and I won't hold it against you if you don't want to be with me anymore.
You don't have to worry about that at all. Trust me. Although, as much as I like you, I don't want you going through with this just because it's what I want. Like I said in the Yuri route, don't force yourself, especially if you don't feel comfortable.
No, I kinda want it too.
Kinda?
I do want it. I just can't shake off the feeling that I'm not worth your time. And even though what you said just now really helped, feeling worthless is something I've felt for a long time.
And regrettably, it's something that I felt for such a long time as well. Especially, well, given like how some of my friends have just easily walked out of my life, or in some cases even told me to go fly a kite, or something a little more R-rated, then, you know, it also makes me feel like, am I worth other people's time? And of course I'm going to bring her up again, but of course even when I started to fall for Maddie, a part of me even wondered like, would she even really want to be with someone like me? Someone so beautiful and intelligent and elegant and wonderful and so creative and so fun. Would she really want to be around some, and well, unattractive person like me? So, and that was part of the reason why I held off on telling her. The other reason being I didn't want to ruin our friendship. So kind of like how he didn't want to mess up anything between him and her, I didn't want to mess up anything between me and Maddie, because, well, to me the thought of chasing her away and making her uncomfortable I just couldn't forgive myself if I had done that. And yet, it happened anyway, and she just kind of slowly stepped out of my life until disappearing altogether. And to this day, I don't know what even happened to her. Whether she found someone else, someone better than me, or if she's graduated from her university, if she's happy. If anything, at the end of the day, that was really all I wanted, was to just make sure that she was safe and that she was happy. And I guess you could say, since I don't know whether she is safe and or happy, that's also kind of been, I guess, somewhat of a mystery to me, and why sometimes I still kind of think back to her, because we shared so many memories with each other, many of which I still remember, and all the little things she would tell me about herself, and where she lived, and all these other things. But yeah, so to that extent, I have felt kind of worthless for a long while, to the point where I've been kind of hesitant towards who I open up to, and if I even feel like, am I worth this person's time? Am I bothering them? Am I a nuisance to them? Are they just going to abandon me like Maddie did? You know, things like that. So I can more or less see where she's coming from with that.
It's hard to shake off the feeling, but by being with you, the rain clouds don't feel as bad.
It'll be okay, Sayori. I just know it will. I'll see you through this storm, and I'll be your umbrella. Okay, well, I'm not gonna be stupid and reference that song.
That's actually one of the sweetest things you've ever said to me. Poetic, too.
You like it because I got it from a Rihanna song. Okay, there, I said it. Wait a minute. When the sun shines, we'll shine together. Know that I'll be here forever. That I'll always be your friend. Stick it out. Damn, I can't remember the song now. And now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. You can stand under my umbrella. You can stand under my umbrella.
Looks like the literature club is really rubbing off on you.
Or, took an oath I'll stick it out till the end. Now that it's raining more than ever, know that we'll still have each other. There we go. I knew I could remember it. I know, right? I'll definitely be the next Shakespeare. Just you wait. Anyway, I guess it's for the best that we're taking things slow, because December exams are coming up. Yep, gotta prepare for that. As much as I don't really want to, we should probably both be focusing on those.
Yeah, you're right. But once they're over...
I take her hand. Oops. Who read that? Okay, yeah, who read that? How long we've been slept. I take her hand, locking her fingers with mine. We'll just have to wait, won't we? Anyway, speaking of work, I should probably get started with revision.
Yeah, that makes sense.
I'll see you later, okay?
Okay.
I hold my arms out and we embrace once more. Oh, to be able to hold her close to me, inhaling her scent, playing with a strand of her hair. It's heaven. Before I can stop myself, I plant a soft kiss on her forehead and break free, closing the door before my mind catches up to her lips. Oh. I swear I can hear a soft giggle as she closes the door behind her. Okay, well, crisis averted, to be sure. Or, to say for sure. And okay, yeah, nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. Okay, now what?
Okay, everyone. We finished sharing poems a little earlier than usual today, so I guess we've got a bit of free time. Before we have to pack away.
Don't know about you guys, but I'm super relieved all of these exams are over. Okay, so we just skipped a whole month or so. The past 2 weeks have been a blur of notes, frantic last-minute cramming, and a bucket load of stress. Welcome to KFC. Here we have a bucket full of stress. Just $99 or... Oops. Yeah, it might as well be $99.99. Student life in a nutshell. I was going to say $9.99, but thankfully today marks the end of the assessments. And the madness! It also didn't help that I was dying to spend more time with Sayori.
Me too. How'd everyone's exams go?
Mixed bag, to be honest. Was never a huge fan of math, so that one definitely could have gone better.
Tell me about it. Physics wasn't much better. Coulomb's law, Ohm's law, Lenz's law.
What's sad is the fact that I used to know this stuff. But, yeah.
Oh well. And I still don't get any of them. Biology went pretty well, though.
That's good.
We were learning all about the brain for this semester.
Huh. Well, thinking back really quickly, supposedly if you study the brain, you can actually pinpoint signs of depression. I don't remember the exact wording of what I read, but if you were to study a brain, you could pinpoint things like the signs of depression and any sort of trauma they might have gone through in their lifetime. But anyways, I'm just saying because it's almost ironic that they're studying that.
So many different parts, and they've all got funny names.
Like the medulla oblongata. Stop, or I will stop you with the medulla oblongata. Okay.
Labeling it was pretty tricky, though. It's fascinating to think that while we're learning about how brains work, our own brains are active, processing it all.
That is kind of ironic.
Don't you think?
Yes, I do think so, funny lady. Yeah, if you're a zombie. Brains.
I'm not sure I understand. Zombies aren't capable of higher cognition, and...
Well, if you watch Black Summer on Netflix, those zombies are capable of higher cognition. They can even drive and do all sorts of crazy stuff.
Geez, Yuri, it's because they like to eat brains. It was a joke.
Brains, I don't lie. I'll eat them till they're zombified. Sure, they might think it's deranged, but they won't give it a thought till I've eaten their brain. Or, 'cause I've eaten their brain. Brains, it's okay. It's not a matter if it isn't grey. If at first they think it's strange, they won't think twice 'cause they don't have a brain.
Oh, Yuri.
Oh, Monica.
Did you do well? I suppose my performance wasn't too bad.
Pfft, come on, Yuri. We all know you're a real smarty pants.
Bet you aced, all of your subjects. You really know how to put her on the spot, don't you, Natsuki?
That's why people ship you and her so much.
Anyway, to answer your question, Daniel, I'm definitely with you. I've never been a fan of exam season.
Yeah, I don't like exam season. Wake me up when it's baseball season.
The amount of stress involved.
She wearily rubs her temples. You have to juggle academics with your extracurriculars, don't you?
High expectations don't make life any easier either.
Her face drops for a moment.
But that's enough of that. Why don't we have a Christmas party?
Oh boy, Christmas party!
Ooh, like our Halloween one? That was so fun. Pretty much like that, yes. That's a wonderful idea. A good way to see the year off.
The funny lady has spoken. Okay, well.
Yeah, okay. Can't see why not.
Why not? Dare I say why not?
Yay!
So happy. Well, that's a pretty unanimous vote. Yep, we have the happy, the so happy, the funny, and the hilarious. You can host it around mine, by the way. Mine what? Okay, well I know he means my house, but at least to me it's an odd mode of expression. I motion towards Monica and Yuri. Huh? As I imagine you model students wouldn't want to break into the school twice. Oh, I see. Well... Oh, well, that's why he's mentioning them, okay.
You'd be correct.
Oh, Monica hates me again! Well, when did she stop hating me? Her stern visage betrays no humor. Looks like my joke didn't quite go to plan. And now she hates me even more. Damn it!
Anyway, now that we've got all of that sorted...
She quickly checks the clock.
I'm gonna have to get going, so now's a good time to call this session here. I'll see you guys at the party!
Wait, what about the Secret Santa thingy? Let's make a move, Sayori.
Okay! I'll see you guys later!
With a wave, we all pack up and go our separate ways. And nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. But yeah, what about the Secret Santa? We didn't do anything for that. Unless there's still one more session. Or... Okay, well, let's see here. By all accounts, today would be the day I'd be spending with Sayori. After our club meeting, though, she texted everyone, suggesting a Secret Santa idea, where we all buy each other presents. Okay. So let's see, in Natsuki's route, it just magically happened. In Yuri's route, we actually have Monica suggested, and we actually pull out names from a hat. Here, Sayori's actually texting everyone about it. So strange. Funnily enough, I ended up with her as my Santa, which put a dampener on things. I was looking forward to Christmas shopping with her. Does that mean we're gonna go Christmas shopping with Yuri? Since she seems like our second BFF now. As I didn't fancy going alone, I decided to message Yuri and see if she wanted to come with me. Yush! Apparently we are. Or apparently she is my second BFF. As I wasn't Yuri's Santa, she agreed, although in a typical Yuri fashion. She was quite surprised that I wanted to go shopping with her.
What? Do you want to go shopping with me?
Man, I can't do Yuri's voice anymore. Well, I'm gonna have to be doing Yuri's voice right now. Some things never change. Okay, it's snowing! So, any ideas what to get Monica? Get her a gumball. Or a banana. Okay, no.
I have some ideas, but nothing I'm truly certain on.
Oh, and that's... Okay, yeah, both in the other routes, Sayori was the one who had to get something for Monica. But since Sayori has to get something... Well, okay, I'm not gonna say anymore.
Part of the downside of shopping for someone is that when you don't know them very well, you can never be sure what they want.
Also, I just realized we never had the argument between her and Natsuki where they're talking about whether money should be a good present or not and all that jazz. This feels so weird. I just realized that. I just thought about that. And I'm like, hey, wait a minute! If it's any consolation, I don't really know what to get Sayori either. Well, don't get her a banana. Truth be told, I've never been that great with presents. Maybe a new bow? Well, I mean, that's what Natsuki got her. Or some new clothes. Get her some socks. Some nice fancy socks. But women's clothing makes no sense to me. Well, I'm not gonna say anything. I've never really talked to Sayori about her fashion sense. Yeah, and seriously, that sweater, it's half tucked in and half tucked out. To me, it's like, it's either one or the other. Please, it's driving me kind of crazy.
Well, we have the entire day ahead of ourselves, Daniel.
So happy.
It would be sensible to look at the recipient's hobbies and go from there, wouldn't you think?
The funny lady has spoken. And that's actually good advice when you think about it. I mean, what better way to start? By looking at their hobbies and then kind of going backwards, sort of. Or forwards. I don't know how you would go about that. Just do that.
Hopefully we'll be able to find something.
I was about to say there's a lady, but I can barely even see her. And I barely even pointed her out recently. At this time of the year, the streets are very busy. Seems like half of the entire town decided to do their Christmas shopping today. From the constant fiddling of her hair and the nervous look in her eyes, it's clear that Yuri isn't a fan of crowds. Yeah, neither am I. Especially when my mom used to take me shopping in the Christmas season. I get kind of claustrophobic and it just makes me panic, especially when I was a little boy. I just hated being in large crowds. Anyways. She's standing quite close to me, her eyes bouncing around whenever someone passes close to her. You know, I've had an idea. Oh no, he's thinking. Let's see.
Oh?
Well, Monica plays the piano, right? Don't say to get her a piano! So I'd imagine she'd be into music. Okay, better. Okay, well, in the Natsuki route, Sayori got her a vinyl record. Have you ever spoken to her about what kind of band she likes? Any musicians in particular?
You know, now that you mention it... Yes, we have had discussions about her musical preferences before. While our tastes aren't exactly aligned completely, we both tend to appreciate music with thoughtful lyrics. She has a preference towards music that has lyrics with clever wordplay.
Huh.
If I recall correctly, she wasn't much of a rap fan, although she's begun to appreciate the thought and effort that goes into rapping.
Ironically, in Monica After Story, she talks about how rap and the thought process that goes into making a rap can kind of be thought of like akin to poetry, since the wordplay, the rhythm, all that kind of stuff. So ironic. Oops. Okay, I did read that, right? Yes, I did. That just went by so quick.
Much like with poetry, lyrics can be a powerful way to express your thoughts, the battles you're going through, and the demons you face.
I'm just saying.
The effort of music can be incredible, not just on the listener, but the artists themselves.
Especially if they actually write their music. It's like they're literally kind of putting a piece of their soul out there. You know?
Take the most famous singer, Freddie Mercury.
The most famous. Well, to me, yeah, Freddie Mercury is like super famous, and I like Queen, so...
Take the famous singer, Freddie Mercury. Outside of the band he was in, he was shy and actually rather introverted.
Ah, yes. And yet, of course, when he was on stage, he was like a totally different person. Like, he was born to perform out on stage. What, really? Yeah. I think he even supposedly he had a hard time in the dating world as well. I think. Don't quote me on that. I'm just remembering some little tidbits I learned. I've always seen him as really flamboyant and confident. Exactly, but I mean, that's how he presented himself to the stage. Kind of like the way Lady Gaga kind of carries herself on stage. Versus in reality, she's actually kind of a different person. So anyways, yeah, so while he was on stage, it was like he owned the whole room. Exactly, that's what I'm saying.
But you see, that was only while he was on stage. As a performer, he was of course as bold, confident, and rambunctious as you may think.
Yeah, and likewise with Lady Gaga. She was also very bold and confident, and you could really see like the genius behind some of her performances. The artistic genius of her performances and how she set all of those things up. Like, I believe a friend of mine once put it like, a lot of her performances themselves can be seen as like a work of art when you think about it, given all the time and effort and all that she puts into them. She stares off dreamily, lost in thought, thinking about the ocean's gray waves. Yuri?
Oh, goodness, I'm so sorry. I didn't mean to go off on a tangent. Anyway, yes, I think the music store would be a fine place to start. Let's make a move, shall we?
Okay, funny lady. Hey, we're back at the record store that I totally haven't been to before in another timeline. Thankfully, the music shop is much quieter than the streets outside. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. As predicted, Yuri visibly relaxes, taking a deep breath.
Much better. Now, where do you suppose we should start?
If I remember correctly, Monica has been playing the piano for long, right? She must still be a novice. So, as my eyes wander, a feasible choice of present grabs my attention. How about these? We amble over with Yuri looking on curiously. It's basically a guide on how to play popular songs on piano. Oh, nice. I flip it over, checking out the description on the back. Note for note, specially catered for beginners. That sounds right up her alley.
Whew. She flips through the pages. I've never heard Monica discuss these artists before. She might not even want to learn how to play any of these songs. She might not even want to learn how to play any of these songs. Not that your suggestion wasn't a good one.
You're saying I'm an idiot, aren't you? Okay, no.
I didn't mean to sound dismissive or anything.
It wasn't dismissive, Yuri. It was a smart thing to bring up. Yeah, I suppose so, when you think of it that way. You don't want to get her something that she's not really gonna appreciate or get much use out of. It was just a suggestion. Let's keep looking. It's tempting to get Sayori something from here as well. I knew what her tastes were like when we were younger, but I have no idea if they've changed. Nah, probably best to come with her one day.
I remember Monica was talking about this song.
I peer over to what she's looking at. Huh. The retro aisle, huh? Didn't know she was into really old songs. Well, ironically, so am I. My music tastes are very esoteric and all over the place.
If I remember correctly, this appealed to her more so from a metaphorical perspective. What's more is that the song is actually a story in itself. Initially describing a castaway lost at sea, slowly losing all hope after admitting it's been a year since he wrote his SOS message. It then describes how he resigns himself to his fate, accepting that he's alone, cut off from the real world, with no one to save him despite his efforts. But one day, he wakes up and realizes that there are other bottles scattered around the shore. So he realizes that other people share his loneliness.
Message in a bottle.
Ironically, he shares his loneliness with other people. The entire tale, told under 5 minutes. Well, it wasn't quite what I'd listened to either. The themes that underlie the song and the message it portrays is quite powerful. The power of loneliness, stemming from an individual cut off from the real world, desperately seeking someone to rescue them, the loss of hope.
Man, a conversation between Yuri and Monica would probably go on for hours, if this explanation is anything to go by. Oh man, imagine. It'll be a battle of wits and intelligence between two geniuses of high intellect. You really look into this stuff, don't you?
Sorry, I know it must be really weird, and you didn't even ask for the analysis.
It's not weird at all. It's really cool. I think it's really cool how you don't have a song at face value. Or you don't take a song at face value. Even with lyrics, you find all the metaphors and hidden meanings. It's not something I really do myself, but if it's something you enjoy, more power to you, right? Exactly. Like, well, I'm sorry I keep going off on these tangents, but I have a lot of these little tidbits here, but when I was actually discussing the Every Time We Touch song by Cascada, and I wouldn't be I'd be almost surprised if by now, if you're a fan of my channel, that you're not familiar with it, but if you're not, well then, I guess go find it somewhere. We were talking about the lyrics, and she brought up this whole thing about, in the song it says, "Your arms are my castle, your heart is my sky." And she said, like, if you were to take it at a literal sense, it would literally mean you have the sky in your castle. Which I always thought was kind of funny, since I hadn't thought of it that way before. But now when I think of that, sometimes I do think back to that conversation we had. And I'm like, yeah, it's just funny to imagine a sky inside of a castle.
Your arms are my castle, your heart is my sky. They wipe away tears that I cry. The good and the bad times, we've been through them all. You make me rise when I fall.
But I don't know. I guess the only way you could do that is if you built a castle with no roof. But then, how are you supposed to have the sky inside the castle? But you see, that's why you don't take it at face value, because then all of a sudden you're here wondering, how do you literally have a sky in a castle? Versus if you think like, your arms are my castle because the castle keeps me safe. Your heart is my sky because... Okay, well that one I still haven't figured that one out yet. But point being, you see, if you look at that song at the metaphorical sense of it, then you can kind of see where the meaning is. Versus if you try to take it at face value, and then it literally just makes no sense.
Really?
Really. Don't be ashamed of who you are, Yuri. Never be ashamed of who you are. And I suppose this goes for anyone and everyone as well. In middle school, I was ashamed of who I was. In high school, I said, screw that, I'm proud of who I am, and if you don't like it, there's the front door. You've got your interests, and that's great. I'll admit that we're different in that sense, but I'd never look down on you for being more analytical. As I mentioned before, at least to me, intelligence in a woman can be quite attractive. But then again, looking back to how I thought Maddie was like this super intelligent woman, then yeah. Besides, it probably helps you in school. I imagine it helps her in school a lot. Anyway, did you want to get the vinyl for this song, or...
Well... I don't know if she has a vinyl player.
Neither did Sayori.
There wouldn't be much point if she doesn't have one.
Well, then maybe she can just keep it as a special memento and mount it on her mantle. I don't know.
I actually had another idea for a gift.
Okay.
Which should hopefully be more dependable.
Okay. Oh, we're back here again. Hey, we're back in the library slash bookstore.
Back here?
Yeah, when Sayori and I were doing festival preparation, we came here for supplies. This place had what we needed, so I'm a little more confident now. Anyway, what did you have in mind?
Well, I noticed that Monica handwrites a lot of things. Her poems, her entries in her planner, and diary.
She has a diary? Well, not that I'm gonna try to go look for it. He better not try to go look for it.
I've always admired the look and feel of a well-crafted fountain pen.
Oh wait, this is what Monica got her in the Natsuki route. Interesting.
These days they're quite rare. Most people use bureaus or ballpoints.
Never heard of a bureaus. A fountain pen, huh? Funny you mention that, actually. If you're my Secret Santa, that's probably what I'd get you. You know, now that I'm thinking about it. What? No, he got her the tea set. That's the teapot, the tea set. No, I think it was the teapot. Something like that, yes. That's what he got her in the Yuri route. So, lies! All lies! Or not. I mean, he kind of did that since they were dating, so... Guess you both appreciate the same things.
Well, I'm not really sure if she would like it. But I suppose it's more dependable than a vinyl, given she doesn't need any equipment to use the gift.
She just needs something to write on.
Anyway, let's have a look.
Shall we take a look? In front of us lies a shelf, carefully slotted with a variety of fancy-looking fountain pens. All in different shapes, sizes, colors, and styles. Yuri takes out a selection of the choices, handling each one with the utmost care. She turns them over in her hands, bringing each pen up to eye level, inspecting them from the nib to the edge of the cap. Being totally honest, while I can definitely see their appeal, it's a little boring.
Yuri, this is boring. I hate this Secret Santa thing.
Okay, no. Yuri, this is boring. Okay. Those are two different ways you can do that. I'm sure that to the right person, they're more than just a writing instrument.
It's not just an instrument, it's a way of life!
But for me, they're just metal sticks that hold ink.
They're not just metal sticks that hold ink, it's a way of life!
I mean, what exactly can you do with a pen?
No! No! Stop!
Aside from writing,
Stop! Stop it!
as my mind wanders, a typical reaction when I'm bored, she calls me over.
This one tempts me the most. What do you think?
Whatever, just don't do what the Act 2 version of you did in the main timeline with the pen, because... Well, it's definitely pretty. The dark green against the black looks really cool. Just like her eyes. Feels pretty weighty, too. I can imagine she'd really like this one. Okay. So, funny lady, have you chosen? That last part isn't exactly true, but at this point, I'm not exactly keen to spend lots of time in this shop.
Because this is boring. I hate this Secret Santa thing.
Yuri has a habit of getting lost in her own little world, and while I don't mind it, it can drag out at times. I bet you'd be feeling differently about that if you were dating her.
I like how it comes with its own bottle of ink, too. A nice little touch. I think this one will do fine.
I inwardly heave a sigh of relief. I had the feeling that Yuri would take even longer than Sayori when it comes to shopping. Let's just hope we don't pass by the book aisle. Oh no. Okay, well, I'm guessing we didn't.
What will you get Sayori?
Still have no idea. Anything to do with clothes are out of the picture, because you don't know her fashion. Don't know what her style or size is.
What does Sayori like to do in her free time?
I have no idea. Sleep? Eat? It's like, what else do we know? Yuri stifles a small laugh. I love her happy, laughing face.
Come on, Daniel. You're missing an obvious one.
Writing poetry? I don't think being clumsy is a hobby.
It's a way of life!
Okay, I'll stop doing that.
Poetry!
See? She knows what I'm thinking of. Maybe this is why Yuri and I do get along just fine.
'Cause every time we touch, I get this feeling, and every time we kiss, I swear I could fly.
Okay, well, anyways. Wow. Now I really do feel like an idiot. I'm an idiot. Okay, well then. So, like a new notebook to write poems in? Never bought a gift for a poet before. What do you think, funny smart lady?
That's a viable choice, however... Although, if I can suggest... Well, far be it for me to tell you what to get her, but... Given your history together, would it not be...
I'm not gonna be offended, Yuri.
Well, would it not be better to get a more personalized present? Something that really reminds you of her?
Okay.
A new notebook or pen are, of course, practical gifts, but they aren't particularly personal.
Alright. Yuri, she likes to have things that have a bit of a... like a personal meaning to remind her of the person, like she does with her parents. That's right, so... Okay. Now I see where you're going with this. Okay, so a more personalized present. Something that reminds me of her.
For instance, let's look at her poems. They are rather intimate, no? A reflection of her inner thoughts and feelings.
Well, I really liked her Bottles poem, and... Wait. That's it! You scared Yuri.
Sorry, I'm not sure if I understand.
You can buy little bottles that are illuminated by lights. If I get a few, all with different color lights, they can be metaphors for the happy thoughts she has. Okay, that's actually pretty damn creative. I like that. Yuri's eyes light up. So funny. Oops, come back.
Ah, that's such a wonderful idea, Daniel. You're a genius. Not only is it very thoughtful, but it's also a wonderful homage to one of her best poems. I guarantee you that she would love it.
I really surprised myself, don't I? Don't get too cocky, Star Fox.
Where would you get such a gift from, though?
The party store. Or you can order them from the internet. Then what was the point of even coming out here? Well, aside from helping Yuri. And are you sure they're going to come in on time? Because I still have a bone to pick with Amazon and their shipping. I tell you what, actually. What? Do you want to wrap your present for Monica at my place? No! What are you doing? Well, actually no. Sayori isn't... I don't think she would get jealous of Sayori. Yes, Sayori is going to get jealous of Sayori. No, you know what I mean. I can order Sayori's gift and help you out with that.
Are you sure? I've already taken up a lot of your time, and I'd hate to...
It's Christmas, Yuri. Well, give or take a few days. See, do you have a few days to get the bottles shipped to you? Come on.
If you're sure.
I can't say no to you. Okay, well. So I guess nothing of any relative importance happened whatsoever. Okay, well I think I'm just gonna stop the video here as well, since it's about 90-some minutes. Okay. I reluctantly drag my eyes away from the anime I'm watching. I reluctantly draw my eyes away from the anime I'm watching. See, where's the TV? Well, at least you left Saitama up. Okay, well, anyways. Save. Okay then, well, so I guess next time we are going to have the Christmas party. And then after that, I imagine, well, if it's anything similar to Yuri's route, we may be able to help Sayori out a bit and maybe go out on the first official date with her. But anyways, that's just me theorizing here. So anyways, yeah, so thank you all for watching, and I'll see you guys next time for whatever else I do. Stay golden, and later, folks.